Hi everyone. I get a lot of questions about hypnotherapy, asking what it is, what it does, and what issues it can treat and how it works. So I thought I'd create a series of videos to try to explain some of this. Hypnosis has been in the media for a long time, in movies, books, TV shows, usually with a negative slant or with a mysterious element to it. So I just wanted to come on and dispel some of those rumors and let you know what to expect from hypnotherapy. Most people know that it will treat anxiety and phobias and help you quit smoking, which is true. But it also covers a whole range of other issues, from panic attacks to confidence to creativity to sleep issues, pain management, motivation, sports performance, weight loss, and so many more. It really is a way of working with the subconscious brain in a whole wide field of areas. So what I want to do is to let you know what hypnotherapy is, give you some examples about how it works, and go through each of these elements and treatments to let you know what to expect from your hypnotherapy journey. So what is hypnotherapy, and how does it differ from stage hypnosis, as most people are familiar with? Well, like any therapy, it's a process where a client and a therapist work together towards a shared goal. And during their sessions, that goal is broken down into manageable pieces, into clear definitions, and steps forward into achieving that goal. This is done with questioning techniques and special tasks that are done during and in between sessions. But with hypnotherapy, it goes that one step further. It goes into a deeper part where we can use trance to actually get the brain to start working for you instead of against you. So often you'll get advice from other people and even advice from yourself that you know what to do. I just need to do this and I need to do that. And yet when it comes to it, you find it difficult, if not impossible, to overcome your brain's own barriers about what to do. So what hypnotherapy does is it kind of gets in that process and uses more parts of the brain, your subconscious part, especially your thalamus, your amygdala, hippocampus, and your hypothalamus, to actually use the emotional side of experience to motivate you towards achieving your goals. When you're in a calm and relaxed state, your prefrontal cortex can come up with ideas and solutions, and it can check it with your intellectual part of your brain and say, yeah, that's what I need to do, that will work for me. And yet when it comes to actually doing it, it's increasingly hard, because that feeling you get of self-sabotaging, or maybe just putting excuses up or barriers or procrastinating, becomes increasingly obvious. Now that comes from the primitive part of your mind, the early part that was developed onto. So this part of your mind doesn't have an intellect and it can't come up with new behavior patterns. It experiences and expresses itself through emotion. So when you want to lose weight and you know you should be going out for walks or eating healthily, it will start asking you questions like, oh, why do you want to do that for? Or, just go home and sit on the sofa, maybe start tomorrow, or just one chocolate bar won't hurt, or a whole array of other things that it will kind of start pushing your buttons in order to stop you from making these changes. Now, it does this with the best intentions in order to conserve energy. The brain is only 2% of the body's mass, but it uses a whopping 20% of the body's energy. So it uses any trick in the book it can to conserve that energy. And most of the time it uses rules of thumb and learned behavior patterns to not think about it. The newest part of our brain, our prefrontal cortex, is the thing that makes us human. It's the thing that allows us to think about thinking and to make plans and predictions. But this part of our brain uses the most energy. It's the part that gets used in new experiences or experiences of danger. So we often come away from these things with kind of big headaches and feeling tired and drained because it has used so much energy. So whenever we try to make changes, whenever we try to implement something different from the norm, then it's this part of the brain that is involved in making sure it's all okay, it's safe, and you're able to do those things in a way that's not going to get you killed, physically as well as emotionally. And so the brain will kind of naturally want to say, well, there's nothing wrong with the way that you're doing things. You wake up each morning, you're not dying, so it's all good. That's kind of why we like sitting in the same seat we do, using the same chair. We're kind of creatures of habit because it takes less energy to continue that habit than to forming new ones. So hypnotherapy actually works with this part of the brain to actually bring the prefrontal cortex, the problem-solving part, into the intellectual mind that knows all about you and what will work and won't work. And it also brings in the primitive mind, that emotional side that so often sabotages you. And it gets these three parts of the mind together to start creating solutions and finding ways forward that will work for you. So that in between each session, what you'll start to find is that you'll start to find you're motivated towards doing these things. You're motivated to actually start wanting to go out and go for a walk or eat healthily or whatever your ailment is. It will start kind of subconsciously motivating you towards achieving your goal. Now this is great because what it does is not only do we work together in breaking down this role, but your subconscious mind then actively encourages you to fulfill those goal steps in between. And the difference there being that the subconscious isn't hampering you and stopping you and putting hurdles in your way. So how is it different to stage hypnosis? Well, there are similar elements to it. So, for example, there are elements where you go into a trance. Now, unlike stage hypnosis, which uses quite rapid techniques, hypnotherapy uses much gentler techniques. Kind of the idea of going downstairs or kind of being relaxed and put into a calm and relaxing state. It's much more gentler and it's a two-way process. So if you are not wanting to kind of follow that or go into that trance, then you won't. You're in complete control all the time. You'll hear things around you, and your thoughts and your conscious mind may still be active and pop up with different thoughts, and that's perfectly normal. So stage hypnosis is quite a rapid process, and it does this by a selection process. So you'll know if you've been that there are certain techniques they use, so like a hands clasped together to make your hands stuck, and if your hands are stuck then you can be invited on stage. So they want the kind of the most susceptible people to be used first. And there's also an unwritten contract between stage hypnotist and a willing victim, in that they will want to be on stage, and if they didn't they wouldn't be there. That they kind of almost know what to expect, and it's a permission to give access to doing these things, to barking like a dog or clucking like a chicken or whatever the suggestion is, that they are going along willingly. Now what it won't let you do is to do things that are against your will completely. So things that are against your moral code, you'll instantly just come out of that trance and you'll kind of come back in and it will stop you. Which is a good, because you are still in control no matter if it's stage hypnosis or whether it's in a hypnotherapy trance. So the similar processes happen, but with hypnotherapy, as I said, it's a much gentler transition between a wakefulness into a trance state. Now trance states kind of are varying different levels. You can have a light trance, which most of us go into on a daily basis, when we drive, when we run, when we listen to some music, when we read a book. It's that being focused on that singular task, a singular thing that takes all of our focus and attention. Now with hypnotherapy, what that is that you're listening to the therapist's voice, and the therapist's voice becomes the thing that becomes your focus. And so trance kind of happens that way. And then there are deeper levels where you're feeling like you're asleep, but your conscious mind is just drifted away, and your subconscious mind is the thing that's listening to it, which is great because it's the subconscious part of your mind that the therapist is talking to. So sometimes you'll go into a deeper trance, and you'll wake up and thinking 5 minutes have passed and half an hour have gone by, and you think, wow, how did that work? And so it's surprising how quickly your brain and your body gets used to being in that state, and how comfortable it can become. And when I say to clients who think they've been asleep is, well, if you were asleep, then you'd be snoring and you'd be off for several hours. But when I tell you to come back up and to come back awake and to come back into the room, then you follow that instruction. So that just shows you that you're following instructions, no matter in the deep trance that you are. So I hope that's been useful in some way, and over the course of the next few weeks and months, you'll start seeing videos on how hypnotherapy can specifically work with different issues and ailments, and what that treatment looks like. So I hope to see you soon, and to catch up then. Bye.